Have you ever wanted to try Trapunto quilting? Well, today's tutorial, we're gonna add loft and texture. Let's get started. Come in real close. I want to show you all of the loft that is created by Trapunto Quilting. And today's tutorial, I'm going to actually walk you through more of the steps than the actual machine quilting itself so that you can understand the layer by layer process to get this extra poof in our quilting. And you can do it for blocks, or you can do it for your whole quilt and in a lot of sections. So it's really, really fun. Now, in order to do it, I want you to have a favorite design. Of course, I always have mine, my sewing machine, and I've already transferred it onto my block or my fabric. We're just going to call it the fabric from the rest of the video. Now, hopefully you can see, but I went through with a transfer paper, and sometimes I want to go with, well, not sometimes, I always want to go with as light of marking as possible. Sometimes you can't see it real well when you get to the machine. So I also came on top of this with my chalk pencil and I chalked out any of the lines that might be a little bit more difficult to see as I'm doing the machine quilting. Now, for the machine quilting, the first process we're going to do is we're going to put the big thick batting in place. So I've taken a scrap of batting and it just needs to fit the all over design. And if you're doing like a fish here and a sunset over here or something like that, you can use a scrap and a scrap. It does not have to be all one piece, right? This is very fun this way. So then I've basted it with a few safety pins into place. And then my job is, and I'm going to do this free motion style, is I'm going to go over to the machine and I'm going to start in the center of my project and I'm going to do one pass as I go as a free motion. So let me show you that here. Now, if you don't love your free motion work on that single pass, don't worry. We're going to have all kinds of time to come back. But because we're cutting to that line, I don't want you to overdo it and overdo it. Just one time around, please. Okay, and we do want to start in the center. And now a great way to get a good start on your thread is I've got a good long tail here. I'm going to drop my needle a single stroke and I'm going to pull up and floss under my presser foot to bring that bobbin thread over out of the way. And somehow I got myself about 17 looking thread tails. Pull on the right one and we'll get started. There we go. Okay, now for this process, like I said, we're just going to do a single pass around. I'm going to lock those threads in. Don't forget to stop and readjust your hands as necessary. You can even rotate your project if it makes it easier for you to see. And I'm going to go ahead and keep working this design in, and I'll meet you back to show you the next step. As you can see, I've stitched around all of the design one time, and now it's time to cut away that extra lofty batting. And I hope I pointed out early on, I get so excited about getting to the machine that I'm using a very lofty batting for this part, and we'll use a finer batting later on. That's how we get the puff and the texture. Now for doing this, I love either a duckbill applique scissor or a curl bent applique scissor. I want to be able to rock my scissor underneath. And I'm going to come from this outside edge first. And of course, we should take our safety pins out of the way. And I'm just going to cut the batting, and I'm just cutting right along the edge here, right at that stitch mark. And I'm just going to go nice and smooth. Of course, I feel like I'm cutting upside down at the moment, but hopefully that makes it nice for you all to see. And I'm going to do this until I've removed all of the batting all the way around the outside and the inside of the design, just like in this sample right here. Okay, so you can see that that has got everything cut away, even the little grooves around the needles and the highlights on the sewing machine, because we're going to fill that in with stitching to help increase the loft. Now from this point, it becomes a standard quilt. So we're going to go ahead and prepare for the basting. So now I've got my quilt backing, so basically just a regular layer of fabric there. And I've got my lighter weight, my cotton or my cotton poly blend batting. Now, we're going to lay this on. Sorry, I've got to get my fuzz out of the way. And then I'm going to use a curved safety pin. Now, if you're doing this at home, please take a moment and tape and secure your backing. You always want your backing to be nice and taut so that we have a good basting. But then I'm going to come back and I'm going to start in the center. And I'm going to secure all three layers like I would a regular quilt process. And then, you know what? I'm gonna make you wait. Let me get all the basting done and I'll show you the next step. Oops, so sorry, I got started without you, but as a reminder, I did finish safety pin basting all my layers, and I've started doing the dense quilting, but again, like our normal quilting process, I started with my dense quilting in the center of the project, and I'm gonna work my way out. I've actually just jumped over some of the batting, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna follow this straight line. Like I said, if I ever needed any repair work, I can, but I also like to thicken it up. And now I'm gonna come in and just do some more dense quilting, but what I'm thinking in my head is like, well, this is a fun sewing machine, so wouldn't this have some neat like filigree work if this was a decorative old antique machine? So you can still think about your design process and your technical process at the same time. But what I want to do is I want to do probably 2 to 4 times the amount of quilting in these areas. And then as I move away from the trapuntoed area, I can do a little bit less quilting. And if you're not getting the relief you want, you can run that same line again so that you're really tacking down and pushing up against all of the batting that was there from the relief. If you're just tuning in to Man Sewing for your first time as a machine quilting video, we've got a bunch of them out there, and in those videos, I always talk about not sewing over your safety pin. So let's get this out of the way. And then we can just finish off this little section here. Okay, and here you can see there's a stitch right there that I just fixed and another one right here that I'm fixing because I must have hit those with my scissors when I was trimming that batting away. So that's exactly what I meant about repair work. There's another one up at top, ready right there. I just fixed it again. So just go ahead and finish in all of the fill-in areas in the motif around the trapuntoed area, and then we have one last thing to do, and that really is, we're just gonna go back to our project and we're gonna put our regular binding around the edge. Now, I just wanna point out, as you look at this, to get the extra loft, because this is what we really want in trapunto, as a reminder, it's extra stitching along those lines, lots of dense stitching in and around the trapuntoed area, but then later on, I can come out here and I can open up my fill a little bit more and I'll still be able to get the loft from that project, from the design that I absolutely love. And you know I love designing and you know I love teaching this free motion machine quilting, but I think we still have a lot of stuff to cover. So in those comments below, please let me know what you still want to learn right here at Man Sewing.